power, I would say. So this is also a proof that you can practice VR even if you live in the countryside. And I am out. So first thing is I'm going to introduce David.
Nicolas, can I interrupt just for a second?
Yes, of course.
I have a stupid menu in between you and me, and so I'm going to re-teleport to here through the menu, and I hope the menu is going to disappear.
So first thing is
okay.
I'm going to introduce
you don't see me; you just see me
David.
clicking in the air. It's not a joke.
Can I interrupt
It's just
that
for a second.
Yes.
You know what? I think I need to restart
so I'm going to
Virbela, so I'll be back in like
through the menu.
1 minute, I hope, 30 seconds.
Okay,
and
no
I hope the
problem.
menu is gonna disappear.
No problem, sir.
Or
So
maybe I'll try.
hopefully,
Okay, let me try something to teleport. You just see me clicking in the air.
If you want, while you try, I'm
joke.
just starting to introduce you. If you agree with that.
You know what? I do.
So this is live, and so
Virbela, so I'll be back in like
as I'm one of the newcomers. Okay, I was no problem, sir. Talking like it's a nearly real life with David today, as we were preparing this presentation. David now
I do.
immersive experience director at Dassault System. He's managing a 3D experience lab. He's been involved for 25 years now in VR and immersive technologies. He's taken part in many innovations, such as presentation, immersive stage on PC, on the first commercial game engine at Dassault System. Means managing 3D 25 years already, I would say he's like a pioneer. David has gained significant experience in the world of content in many things. Then he moved into the world of hardware. Got also a strong knowledge, software thought, and he's at the heart of VR tools at Dassault System and is always researching value. All I say, I guess, David has been of industries group at Dassault System. David is involved also in the our scientist community. Got a 360 vision thanks to his qualified network. This is why he co-founded AFXR, Secretary General. Correct. David, is David back or is he?
I'm here. I'm just on your left.
So this was the first.
Do you hear me?
Yes, hear you?
Okay.
Perfect.
Perfect. Thank you,
That was a
Nicolas.
short introduction of FSO.
Thank you for your introduction. I'm not the director of the 3D Experience Lab. I'm the responsible for the immersive technologies and their usage and open innovation for Dassault System. So part of the 3D Experience Lab, the boss is Frédéric Lacher. So let me introduce you Nicolas Ribert. Nicolas is coming from the industry, having worked in different various sectors, the latest one being optical and vision, which is not far from what people are wearing now for doing VR. And Nicolas is in part of the analyzing the trends and the market for Laval Virtual since 2 years, as far as I remember.
Yes.
And so we're coming from different backgrounds because I would say that Nicolas is more into regarding numbers and facts and trying to draw intelligence from data. And I would say I'm more having a kind of gut feeling about what's happening in the ecosystem, not necessarily having numbers, but so maybe we have visions that can be I would say that complementary.
more into
Great. So if we move on to the next slide
and trying to draw intelligence from data.
working for us.
And I would say more having
What happened is it was really
what's happening in the
quite
ecosystem,
an experience
not
to live
necessarily having
this edition with this 100-person virtual edition of Laval Virtual last April. So I went through the presentations and well, the idea was to pick up some trends for tonight's presentation. So first one is one that we identified is talking about, well, are we really talking about VR or AR? Because sometimes it gets mixed. It means that today we noticed that the VR headsets are now offering augmented reality. Um, they're offering like AR. So we noticed, like, for instance, you have the Varjo XR1, which has a new cameras on the top of the headset, which means that you could see physically, you could see the virtual environment, but if you put your hands in front of your eyes, you could ideally also play the piano, for instance. So this is something which is done by Varjo, but we also noticed that Lynx, or I would say Lynx for the Sport R1, is offering same thing. On another side, you have Lenovo Think Reality headsets, which is now so more than an AR headset, which is offering VR, and you could mix another. And also about the different headsets, we noticed that Cosmos Elite and VR Genius X-Tol 8K are now offering also AR. So it becomes really mixed. I would say not only doing some VR, but also doing your own AR in the possibility that offer the that's trend. If we move to the next slide, something we noticed too with the team here is Alpha and Marie is about do we still have to download software before we want to use VR? Well, not exactly. And the proof is talking about web VR apps. What are the key benefits? Key benefits is the speed of how we can use it like on the normal web VR apps. So that's the example also of hubs by Mozilla, LearnBright, because we are talking about a virtual world. We are in the Laval virtual world this evening, and I would say that Marie will talk about that, but we have some examples such as the LearnBright, High Fidelity, or TU, who are using some WebVR apps, and this is making the life of the user easier. Moving to our next slide, talk about the third trend we notice. If we move to the next slide, which I can do. Great. Let's talk about the sound. Yeah, David, a minute ago, he was talking to having specialized sound in your avatar in this world, and you are turning around or around the table, that you will see the specialized sound. So our question is it becoming the standard? Let's have a look to the next slide. Some elements we noticed during the last show was about, like, let's say the third eye. It's from Big Boy System. Thinking about binaural sound recording or sound. Quite interesting way they're using it. It's as if you were in the first person, and you get some specialized in English sound, but it's possible for you so to localize the noise aids depth, whether it's coming from the back, if I'm turning, I'm going around, or if I'm facing the public. So we have other actors on the next slide about like noise makers who are like very active with the neuralizer studio. That's an awful word. Uh, Basically, it's making plugin easier and also like converting around is into binaural 3D audio. Another actor, the next slide, is about Lucie Ardouin, who is an expert press, I think. But you can listen to the world in 3D. This is what she says. To get immersed in a unique sound experience, this is what uh, being offered by binaural sound. Next slide is something I really liked, is having a look in the presentation at Laval Virtual about Digital Rise, a French company, and what they did, an experience that's called A Song with Us in Taiwan. And that's very interesting. You should have a look afterwards. These dancers, Taiwanese Aboriginal singers, who are under a dome. And not only you're dancing with them, you are singing with them. Experience you have also in 3D. Finally, local, on the next slide is a um, local project held by Clarté. Clarté is like a lab sister in the Laval Virtual Center, and they've done something with the French Archery Federation about how to improve the concentration of the top archers when they are training, and so using binaural sound. So let's move to the fourth trend we identified, about cross technologies. So I would have dozens of examples. This is something which is increasing in what we notice. I would talk about who is either using what we call related technologies and VR or AR. It means artificial intelligence, let's say 22 agencies using that to prevent some accidents. You have also AI, which is used with AR, like in beauty products for retail, but also for safety and security. You could have AR, facial and object recognition, and also an experience, a use case we saw recently was about Ixtal, who is using emotions detection inside the headset. I would also quote the use case from Valeo, like talking about network. We are now talking about VR networks. Like if you are on the road, you know, it's the experiment they make with someone who is in the car and with in the car with you, but from home in VR. So this is another way of sharing the space, virtual and real space mixing. So that comes to a question for Peter, or that on the next slide, which is what drives us towards the democratization of technologies. That was today's big question. And the big question is on the next slide is came with a simple notion, which is our tripod. So David, can you tell us more about the concept or triangle?
Yeah, it's quite simple. Basically, if you want to live an immersive experience, you would need some devices and hardware, typically a VR headset or a cloud server as well, something like hard, but let's say mostly interface. If you want to live an experience, you need apps and services. Basically, something that allows you to get access to the content or to build that content. And the content is what is done by people to build the experience. But we'll see some example to make the things clearer, maybe in this example. So basically, if you look at the B2C market, and we're going to speak about the B2B market, we could look at what is currently rather mature as a market is the one of immersive video games. So basically, the contents are done by agencies, video game studios, basically, who are going to use the apps would be Unity, Unreal, and these kind of things, and served with Steam typically to get access to those content. And then the hardware and the devices would typically be the Rift, the Vive, and the Valve Index. So I took this example to speak about an area which is a mature B2C market. And when we say democratization, we're clearly speaking, I mean, everyone have in mind the general public. So typically the video gaming is the general public. And it's probably the only general public market that is really mature in the sense that there is a point at the three, and this is probably historical, coming from the Oculus Kickstarter campaign that made it possible to have this ecosystem built together. Shall we speak about the B2B now?
Yeah, on the
Yeah. So I'm taking another example, and I took probably the most mature B2B area. I think my friend Nicolas from Immersive Learning Lab would not say the opposite. In a B2B world, it's clear that the training experiences is probably where we see the biggest deployment currently. So let's consider this as being one of the current major markets. So who are the players now? The content is made by training, the training content is made by agencies, by studios who actually build content again with those game engine, Unity and Unreal. But the content is mostly, the hardware is mostly a mobile standalone headset. So historically, it's been the Gear VR, and now more and more Oculus Quest, Co, Vive Focus. So these are the popular current standalone headsets. And important is to note that the mobile IT plays a key role in delivering the content towards the hardware for the user. That's very important. So now maybe we could speak with what is going to come. So I'm doing some perspective. I mean, there's been quite a lot of news and announcement recently. And so I would say that this is probably what we should look at as being the future biggest B2C deployments. And as you can notice, Facebook is going, to my feeling, win this, I would say, act with hardware which is already here. So I'm not speaking about what we are going to see in the year 2022, which is the supposed date where people like Apple are going to release VR headsets, and maybe 2023, where we would see AR headset both from Apple and Facebook. I'm talking about the few years to come. And you probably also the announcement and what Facebook is providing with the Horizon, which is a kind of metaverse where people are going to do a lot of activities, and most of the content we are going to see there might be like what we see in Facebook, which is user-generated content. And that's really key because it scales. I mean, there's so many content on Facebook currently. It's because people are taking photos, video, and so on. So we must keep an eye on that. And we see this is served by Facebook. And you may have followed the fact that Facebook announced that those devices would only run if connected to a Facebook account in the consumer world. And in the B2B world, they are considering using Facebook at work. And the prices of the device will absolutely not be the same. Don't be fooled. Last, B2B next move, what is it? Again, in terms of content, I believe it's going to be user-generated content, but by professionals. And those content will be generated by many apps like professional software. So that could be design tools like CATIA or SolidWorks, for instance, sold by the company I work for, that's a system. But that can be solution for engineering, manufacturing, sales and marketing, maintenance. I mean, all those currently used apps by the professionals are going to be VR and or AR enabled. So they would allow a lot of professionals to build content, models, simulations, sales tools, advertising, and that is probably going to be a big twist. It's already the case, but it's not very well spread so far. And the hardware, see, there's only a few players left. Why? As I said, Facebook is asking to connect to their platform. As a professional, do you want to connect to a Facebook platform? Probably not. So I believe that those two players, Vive and Pico, for instance, are the ones who are going to ensure that you don't have to connect to their platform. It's just a pure hardware player, I would say, and that will work in good relationship with the professional software and to generate content.
Yeah, great. So that means that we have two ways to do that. Is either that will come through B2C with democratization and bigger use with Facebook, you said, or coming with B2B. But what about a solution like in the middle? Does that exist?
Yeah, okay. It does. So to look at HP Reverb 2 in particular, or really the current Reverb, they made a choice which is to be equivalent in terms of platform or hardware platform as what is needed in the consumer or in the professional world. So this specific hardware, so I should have probably put those in the previous slide. I mean, can serve both the, if you take an expensive, I mean, a powerful, workstation plus an HP Reverb, you have one of the very good platform for both doing gaming on one hand and doing, when I say gaming, I mean like hardcore gaming, what the current market is, and serving an individual professional who already has a desktop platform and can, by plugging a VR headset to it, have a kind of second screen, which gives this person the ability to better understand what is currently being designed or simulated or will be manufactured and this kind of thing on a very, very ad hoc use. You don't have to book a room, you don't have to go in a specific place, you put your headset on. So that's very mainstream. It doesn't cover all the professional use cases because you cannot track something else, for instance, and the area may not be so wide, or you need a backpack, and then it gets very complex. But they are targeting something which may be used by a lot of professionals and gamers. Regarding the content, obviously the store thing is something that we probably want to escape from because of the control of the GAFA and the people who own those platforms. So WebXR, so as you said, Nicolas, the ability to play an immersive experience right away without downloading anything, exactly like when you go on a web page, is probably going to dominate a lot of the content, hoping that the performances are going to be maybe enhanced and improved because of the architecture of the solution. But that's very important and needs to be looked from very close. And last but not least, I would say that Windows 10 is going to be the core receptacle, the core place where the apps, the services, the users, the hardware will concentrate around. And I don't know if you've experienced using a HoloLens or a Windows Mixed Reality VR headset, but basically the interface is the same. The concepts are the same, except that in the case of the HoloLens is the reality, which is the background, but then you have all your apps and widgets inside the real world. You have a VR Windows Mixed Reality headset. The current full screen experience is going to be your background, but you still have windows where that you can pull inside your experience. Like here, if I was on a Windows Mixed Reality headset, I'm actually on a Vive, but I could pull, for instance, my desktop here. I could have a recorder to take photos. I could have whatever tools that are the ones of my operating system. And that is great because as an application developer, for instance, I don't have to code that myself. I rely on the operating system, which is what is done currently in all Windows operating system based application. So Microsoft is going to play a huge role in this domain in the coming years.
Great, thank you very much, David. And we do thank you all for listening to us tonight and having this conversation. So I will leave over to Ariette, and we say that we will be able to talk to you later on. Bye-bye.
Please, thank you.
Thank you both. Please do FCAT to clap. So we are now going to welcome on stage Marie Leblanc, Head of Business Intelligence at Laval Virtual, who will give us tips on how to choose the best virtual platform. Round of applause.
Hi, everybody. I will share my screen. Yes. So I'm Marie Leblanc, Head of Business Intelligence Department of Laval Virtual. We have been working in Laval Virtual for a few months now on the knowledge of the virtual worlds. We have already referenced over 100 of them up to now. But before we start, a little reminder. We make here the difference between virtual and digital. The virtual event will allow to be in immersion and interactivity in the experience, and it will allow you to feel present in the experience. On the contrary, a digital event, because we see a lot of proposition of digital events, they will allow you to organize an event using the web with networking applications that can be used on smartphone, but it will retain an ergonomic user experience related to the internet navigation. So here we will only talk about virtual worlds. It means that that are virtual 3D worlds, persistent or not. It means that they exist in the time, all the time, or that's just moments that we can share together. These virtual worlds are multi-users and interactive, and they are accessible with a computer, a smartphone, or a VR headset. So in every virtual world, we also choose an avatar, a virtual double for the experience. And I say that because you will discover right now that every virtual worlds are not comparable. So that's why I wanted to share with you, or I wanted to give some tips on how to choose the best solution among all the virtual worlds. For example, we can begin with this graphic. In fact, each virtual world is dedicated to a specific use. That's why we group these words in 10 categories of use. And on this graph, you can see that the different names of use here, the categories, they are linked to the adjoining uses. For example, for a conference use, we advise you the most suitable virtual words for a conference use, but according to your requests, we can find solutions in trade fairs, just near to the category, or also in the e-learning platforms. And this type of categorization allows us to have a global overview of all the virtual worlds, and that's what we see about the iceberg. What you can see for the moment, to simplify a little bit. But behind, we are doing a study to list the number of visitors allowed in each platform, for example, or the number of applications per category, the origin of the solutions, the year they were updated, and a lot of other details about each platforms. For each virtual world, we were able to tell you if they were accessible directly on the web or required downloading, if they are responsive, the ease of handling the tools, the onboarding, if it's easy or not. And you see here on the graphic, we have the big size event. And for the other categories, we know that we cannot have, for example, 200 people in the same time in such applications. So maybe we can begin with the application for the conferences. The conferences category includes virtual worlds with a stage and an audience. We have many of them in our study. And with the idea is that you have the possibility to present a PowerPoint or a PDF content. You have the possibility to have moderators, the possibility of questions, answers, Q&A. And you also have the possibility to discuss with the participants, with the other people. For example, here we have a picture of Théo. And if you are sitting at a table, you can speak with the people on this table. And if you want to, you saw somebody you want to speak with, go in another table and network with this other person. So that's the first category, just for conferences. We also have the category of e-learning platforms that are every virtual worlds where you can, that includes learning scenarios. I mean, you are present in some scenarios, assessment functionalities also, course presentation, board tools, and you can really experiment in this virtual world to learn. And that's the difference with the classroom, where we can find virtual worlds a little bit more simple, where you don't have this something so complete. For the classroom, you just have table tools, markers, and yes, that just to to have a group and the professor and maybe ask questions. We also have the category of social. It means that you are together, you share a moment with others together, either in different environments or in front of a TV, for example, and you can use these virtual worlds to see a soccer match or to share a movie and just to be together if you are not in at the same place. But there are not many other functionalities. Just be together. You also have the workspaces for meetings. The work spaces for meetings that are tools, virtual worlds, where you will find productivity tools. And for example, here by the photo that's special, that's a virtual world where you also can have your own face. You take a photo in the beginning and you put the photo of you on your avatar. So that's more done to work together. And you can access to desktop tools and creativity tools also to work together and to organize meetings. We make the difference also with the workspaces for CAD teams, because in platforms like here we have the Wild virtual world, and you can play with 3D objects, you can change the scales, you can go inside the building, you can make notes, and you can really work around a 3D tool. And that's not possible in every virtual worlds. We also have the category of workspaces for creative teams. It means that you have tools with post-it, or everything is organized. So for example, on Vispa, that's a solution that allows us to create a little travel, and that's during a day, for example, you can have a group with you in the virtual world. That's also an advantage of the virtual worlds. You can stay a really longer time than before Zoom or some digital platforms. You can stay all the day and you work together, and you can go in different places with different objectives, goals to create. We also have the category of workspaces for art, and it means that's a place like here, the Museum of Other Realities, where you can go inside the digital art. In the beginning, when you arrive in the museum, you see the different artworks, and after, when you are going in the direction of an artwork, you can go inside the artwork, and you can also change the scale and experiment the artwork. That's really something new in the experience of art. And you have this possibility in some virtual worlds. We defined also the workspaces for communities. We said that because that's sure that you already heard from Engage, AdSpace VR, Second Life, and many others. And we call that workspaces for communities because you cannot go in these virtual worlds just for one time, just to see a conference, and after you don't go anymore. That's not really possible, because you need a personal investment in the beginning to go inside of this virtual worlds. You need to create your avatar. It takes a little more time than the others virtual worlds, and you need time to understand how it works. You need sometimes a tutorial. But when you decide to go in this community and to experiment it, you will come every day, every week, and you will try or you will discover what is possible inside, and you will always come back in the same virtual world. So it means somebody who wants to organize an event just for one time, for example, for cars or for automotive industry, for example, if they say we will organize that in Second Life, they will just have the Second Life community, because they can, if they invite a lot of people on this platform, that's sure that there will not be a lot of people, because they will try and they will find that everything is too complicated and they will go. But for the people in these communities, that's a very good thing. And today, some video games like Fortnite organize some events inside of the video games. And for us, we put them in the workspace for communities, because you need to buy the game before and to have an habit of the game to go in the event in the game. The last one are the workspaces for trade fairs. And that includes virtual worlds that allows you to present your product or services. And the advantages of these virtual worlds are the networking, because you can spontaneously discuss with every people who are there and ask the questions really as on a real trade fair. And because you are present inside, you like to spend time into such virtual worlds. So I hope that it has answered to your question, and I hope you will have a nice evening.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mary. Maybe the audience, do you have any questions? Feel free to type them inside of the public chat. Okay, so until then, feel free to actually write down the questions. Marie will be hanging around the Laval Virtual World, so feel free to ask if you have her, if you find her inside of the LV world. So unfortunately, Amy is not going to make it for tonight, so we're going to pass on directly to Guillaume Gouraud. So I'm calling here on stage now Guillaume, co-founder of Stylé, who is going to share his insight on the fashion industry going digital. Please welcome him with a little clap.
Thanks, everybody. It's almost my first presentation, so I hope it would be nice. I will need to share my screen, so...
All will be fine, don't worry.
Yeah. Let me... I'm not sure you're seeing anything yet.
We can see you looking for your document.
You see?
Yes, all good.
Yeah, it started. Yeah.
In the audience, if you cannot see what is happening on the screen, don't hesitate to click on the refresh button above the screen here on stage. You can go.
So thank you. Yeah, thank you for inviting me. Subject was free, so I decided to speak about what I've been working on the last 9 months. End of last year, I decided to look at the digitization of fashion. Fashion is going digital. It means that more and more we are replacing physical assets by 3D content, whether to decide on a new collection. It's mostly for mass fashion. And e-commerce also is starting to get replacing the true picture of a true garment by 3D rendering. Fashion is very late to digitization. It's one of the last industry to go digital, and COVID has been a major source of acceleration. Buyers can't travel. You can't get samples from the manufacturing. So fashion in 3D and virtual fashion at large is in the mind of all fashion CEO. And what they have pushed back and expect to do in years, they have now to do it in months. And what's funny also is that consumer with games that everybody mentioned have been already engaging with 3D and fashion. But as you see, 3D and fashion is not an obvious topic, and there is a lot of work to do. So if we could, if we look back, the last years with the StarVR, I've been working almost mostly for the automotive and the design space. So the first software for conceiving and designing cars in digital started back in early 70s. The first car fully designed in digital was between 1985 and 1988. So you can see that it took 10 years to make the software and almost 8 years to find an application. It's of course very disruptive. Designer had to learn on YouTube, which was the computer. 2010, the image become realistic and we can take decision almost with real-time visualization that look as realistic as the true car. And now we are in 2020, and what I hear from the industry is that now people are taking decision in VR. Because of COVID, teams can't meet, and now directly work on the first step of a car directly in VR. There is no physical mock-up. Physical mock-up are pushed back for the very end of the cycle of the car development. Where fashion happened, the first 3D software for fashion happened just in 2009. So you can see there is already 40 years almost of difference. But since 2 years, 3 years, digital fashion is starting to happening. So one of the very important group, Tommy Hilfiger, the fashion group PVH, which own also Ralph Lauren, decide that by 2022, all its design must be done in digital. So that's the first major player in mass fashion that said that they want totally to design and give the ability to the buyers to purchase, to make their order of clothes totally digitally. Farfetch also is starting to use rendering to display the clothes. And Business of Fashion, I don't know if you know that publication, which is the biggest publication in the fashion industry, has listed the CGI artists, so 3D artists, as one of the most demanded job right now. And there is a very important publication that happens every year. This time, there has been also a second publication this year by Business of Fashion and McKinsey that said that 3D is a must in terms of innovation for a fashion company. There is no turning back. What is also interesting, more on the pop culture and fashion user side, is that people are questioning if they could solve this need for shopping clothes with virtual clothes, with of course the benefits that it would be less expensive, and that you could afford more clothes, being on point in terms of fashion, and also with the advantage that pollution would be reduced. So this trend was very interesting, and that's the one we look at. So this dress was sold $10,000 US, was made by the fabricant. So the fabricant is one of the leader this idea of digital fashion, a fashion that you could use for stories in the social media, that you could display with this virtual fashion. So with the regular fashion, there is always this feeling that 1 minute you are in, and the minute later you are already old-fashioned. So this company, the fabricant, is really at the forefront of this idea. And it's a designer, it's a fully digital, and they don't intend to produce the real clothes. What also is happening is that the consumer wants to express their creativity. If you are into Instagram, so there is a hashtag called Outfit of the Day. There is 400 million of this hashtag post on Instagram. And also one, so it's basically people posting outfit of themselves. And there is a kind of must is that you should never post the same outfit twice. Several websites about fashion that were democratizing fashion, meaning it was user voting what was the best trend in fashion, like Polyvore had a lot of people. In Polyvore, you could do a mashup of clothes and post this outfit and get likes. It was a very well loved application. It was purchased by Yahoo and then disappeared. Fashion game exists. I wouldn't say they are good, but they are definitely making money. And you have seen regarding games that people during COVID start playing with Animal Crossing and love to create outfit. So the goal of the new company I'm starting is to be at the crossroad of this digital fashion and games. The problem with digital fashion is that for now it has no use. It's only CGI. It's a beautiful, beautiful image, but you can't do much about it. So our mission is to recreate this pleasure of fashion, whether it's shopping, whether it's trying to dress up. So we start a little bit just with fixed image, with the ability with artificial intelligence to recognize a pose and to put a clothes with physics on yourself. So that's really the beginning. There are still a lot of things to do. What's funny is that the same clothes could work in a game. So you can have a big laugh, but can work also in yourself with augmented reality. So it's really the same clothes. So that's the digital fashion we want to create, digital fashion that you can play and move with it and have fun. We don't pretend to do virtual try-on. It's really about having fun and doing maybe some stupid things. Anyway, fashion doesn't see it coming, but tech is moving very fast, and everything to do a perfect virtual fashion will be here in few years, 5, maybe less. So you have seen the Memoji from Apple. Body tracking is going to be perfect very soon. LiDAR tracking is happening on iPad already. You have seen with VR that and Facebook that VR is becoming perfect and perfect. No need to speak about Fortnite. Cloud rendering, 5G is here, ray tracing is here. So even if fashion doesn't want it, tech is going to bring a virtual outfit to everybody. So that's a bit our vision in the future, 10 years. Maybe that's our goal, is to help brands to make revenue in digital to compensate maybe the lack of sales with a real garment. We think it would be positive. It would allow people to express their creativity without guilt, without ruining themselves, and we hope with less pollution. We think it will happen, so that's what we are going to focus on the coming years. That's me and my co-founder.
Thank you very much, Guillaume, for sharing all the insights. Please, a round of applause for him. Are you saying a little bit? I think, are you exposing tonight?
I don't know where.
Well, if anybody has a question for you, they can click on the go-to menu, LV Days XR Trend, and go on the award-winning 2020, right? Okay, so until then, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
And we're now going to welcome on stage Alexander Padhesky, co-founder and CRO of The Parallel. Hey, Alex. So he is going to give us more information on how to change people rehabilitation thanks to, am I going to say that right? Inveon?
Nearly there, yeah, it's Inveon. Hi, thank you.
No problem, thank you. Please, a round of applause for him.
Okay, hello everyone. Let me just set up. Right, so okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, but we're seeing the slideshow, not the slides itself.
Okay.
You're in
Is it better
presenter
now?
mode.
Oh, that's it. We're good.
Okay, great. Okay, so hello everyone. Thanks a lot for having me here today. I guess the main reason I'm here is because back in April we have been awarded as a VR AR solution for a cause. So thank you very much to organizers for making it today. It's really great to be on stage, although I'm not physically there. I would like to apologize in the first place because I haven't done much public speaking in the last 6 months, as most of you will understand here. So don't judge me too harsh. So I'm from a company called The Parallel. We have developed a product which is called Inveon. And the goal of this product is simply to change the way how people with disabilities rehabilitate. To give you a quick intro into what this is all about, I just wanted to play a quick video, but hold on. Can you hear the sound if I play it from here, or does it cause issues? Okay, let me paste the link. Okay.
Cerebral palsy is found in about 3 in every 1,000 children. It is impossible to cure cerebral palsy, but with Inveon it is possible to reduce the consequences of the disease. Inveon is a simulator based on virtual reality and motion tracking technology, which allows rehabilitation to take place at healthcare centers or at home. Inveon aims to transform rehabilitation with a wide range of immersive game scenarios to keep children engaged and motivated to improve their motor functions. Using a special algorithm which turns incorrect movements into correct ones visually, we aim to trigger the motor neurons to help correct patients' actions. Invion provides a variety of physiotherapy exercises for both comprehensive and individual training for joints and limbs. Using virtual outpatient cards, Invion is able to monitor the rehabilitation process and collect data on each patient, allowing you to monitor the training dynamics, rehabilitation effectiveness, and to manage the schedule of rehabilitation for the patient. Invion's biggest benefit is the possibility to conduct physiotherapy without the need for a medical professional and can be set up by a parent or guardian. This allows families to transfer the rehabilitation process from the clinics to their homes. The Invion clinical trials have shown a significant improvement in limb movement and improvement in children's socialization and academia. Invion, changing the way people with disabilities rehabilitate.
Right, so let me switch back over to my presentation. Okay, sorry, can you confirm that you can see it?
Yes.
Okay, great. So to be honest with you, when I started working on this project around 2 years ago, I didn't know much about cerebral palsy. So I don't expect all of you here to know about it much, but in a nutshell, it's just to kind of to recap from the video, it's a lifelong condition that affects movement and coordination of the usually of the children, but that is with the root cause of it being a brain damage. So having said that, the problem is irreversible. In other ways, you can't just cure it, and therefore the only way how you can deal with this problem is by having exercises that or different therapies that help you to kind of to live a normal life. Cerebral palsy is prevalent in 2 to 3 out of every 1,000 newborn children, and it is the biggest children's disability cause in the world. And to
Excuse me, Alex, someone closed your mic. Can you open it? Alexander, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, let me come back here. Right, so the cerebral palsy is the biggest children's disability cause in the world, and as I don't know if you've heard that bit, but the problem is irreversible, and the only way to kind of to deal with it is by having exercises and different kind of therapies. And for example, here in the UK, people that are born with cerebral palsy are given 10 minutes of kind of free time, if you like, which is provided by the social care, well, healthcare system twice a year to provide this kind of therapies. And if you just put it in a different perspective, just think about how often you do exercises. If you want to achieve a certain goal, you need to do it quite regularly. For example, every day or at least twice a week, depends on what kind of goal you set. And here it's pretty much the same. You need to do it regularly, because if you only do it 60 minutes twice a year, it's almost if you have never done it. So this is simply not enough. And to put the problem in a different perspective, governments still spend a lot of money on actually dealing with this problem. And referring back to the example in the UK, our government spends approximately 1.15 billion pounds a year on treating cerebral palsy. And the reason why it is so expensive is because it kind of comes back to the price of the equipment, which is bulky, it's expensive, it's very old-fashioned, requires special training to operate, requires regular maintenance, things like that. And again, to put this all in a different perspective, a person who is born with a cerebral palsy would spend approximately $800,000 in their lifetime medical costs, because they need to buy medicines, they need to go see doctors quite often, etc. And there are 17 million people worldwide with this problem. And referring back to an example of prevalence of how many children are born with it every day, around 900 babies are born with CP each day, which is horrible. So as I mentioned, 2 years ago, when I just started working on this project, I didn't know much about this problem myself. We at the Parallel, we have been just kind of a regular software house, if you like, developing virtual reality, augmented reality software on demand for various corporate customers. But we wanted to look into ways how virtual reality or augmented reality can be used to make a difference, and how it can be, well, and we found a number of academic and medical articles talking about how great virtual reality can be in kind of dealing with cerebral palsy. But all these articles, they didn't have any empirical proof. So there was a lot of theory about it, but no one actually tried to use virtual reality in solving this problem. So we have consulted with a number of healthcare professionals, and we initiated a study where, in a controlled environment, we tested kind of our first prototype that we developed with the help of healthcare professionals. And the idea was simple. We wanted to use a retail-grade virtual reality equipment that anyone can buy from, let's say, Amazon. We wanted to develop a set of intuitive rehabilitation game scenarios. And the last bit here, which says proprietary incremental angle algorithm, well, sounds complicated, but the idea here is that inside virtual reality, it helps the end user to understand how the movement needs to be done. So like you could see from the video, but and it's basically, it's fairly simple. It's an out-of-box plug-and-play solution that you just turn on into plug basically, and you can start using it. The software has a number of immersive rehabilitation scenarios. It also has a platform that allows you to, as an end user, to kind of set up your own parameters, but also allows clinicians to set the parameters of the patients if they need to. And it can be done remotely as well. So this way, for example, especially in the current circumstances, a clinician can log in and see how the child is progressing with their exercises on a daily basis. So that's kind of just a recap from the video. As I said, we did a controlled study, and we demonstrated that it helps people to, when they use virtual reality as part of their conventional rehabilitation course, it helps them to improve not just kind of it helps to improve their physical functions. And again, it's kind of just a recap on remote and data control functions. And also the most important thing actually that was noticed by the healthcare professionals was that basically children really enjoyed it, really enjoyed to spend time in virtual reality, which was a really great result for healthcare professionals. Because if you think about it, well, I have a 3-year-old daughter. If I want to tell her to do something, if I just tell her to do that, she will never do it. But if you try to engage her, and if you try to kind of make her interested in this subject, then she kind of, you can never stop her from doing that. And same thing here. If virtual reality helps to engage children, and it helps them to actually focus on the specific exercise that they need to spend time on. And this way it helps to build this very important momentum in terms of their motivation and things like that, which is really fundamental in this kind of problems. And I just wanted to quickly show another video of one of the studies that we did with a partner center here in the UK. Let me switch over back to YouTube. Sec. Basically just summarizes that point, but just wanted to show you that how it works in the field.
Click on the link once you see it in front of you, so that you can watch the video. And once you're done, you can click on close on the top of the video.
Okay, like this.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Everybody in the audience, please go ahead and stream and look at the video.
Hi, I'm Luke Thompson. I am an occupational therapist and the assistive technology lead at the PACE Centre in Aylesbury. We have recently partnered with the Parallel to help trial some virtual reality software that aids in the development and rehabilitation of children with motor disorders. It has been amazing to see and hear the students' responses to entering the VR world for the first time. I have heard a lot of gasps, wows, and declarations that this is amazing. I've seen students proactively reach out, look around, and explore the VR world. Many of the students have requested more when the goggles have been removed, and several have already shown signs of improvement with the current upper limb activity. The majority of the students gave VR 10 out of 10 for enjoyment. We believe that virtual reality and augmentative reality can be an amazing complementary tool to the therapy interventions and educational resources for our students. It can quickly transport our students to the plains of Africa to learn about elephants, or under the sea to learn about sea life, or even onto the moon to learn about space. It can also be used to play a motivating game which encourages them to do important motor movements they find difficult but need to repetitively do to improve their functional skills. We are very excited about this trial and the potential role that VR and AR has in empowering our students to live full and independent lives in today and tomorrow's world.
Right. So this is really it for me. Let me switch over. Yeah, this is really it for me. If you do have any questions, please come over to the stand or just reach out to me via email or WhatsApp or whatever is convenient to you. Yeah, once again, thank you very much for having me here today. I hope you enjoy the rest of the show and take care in this unprecedented times. All the best.
Thank you, Alex. You do have a few questions inside of the chat. Feel free to answer them, or the people who actually asked them, feel free to go and meet with Alex during the exhibition. Thank you so much with the Parallel for making the world a better place, I guess.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are now going to welcome on stage Loïc Lextrait, CEO of EvaVeo, who is going to talk about training in VR. Please, a loud round of applause.
Hi. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you fine.
Okay. I load the deck. Well, share my screen maybe, it's better. So, up. Do you see my screen?
No, I think it's still Alexander's screen here.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, it's still yours, Alexander. Can you...
Yeah, give me a sec. Wait, how do I do that?
Click on it again. Come back on stage and click on it again to close your camera. Yep. Thank you. Loïc, do you have are you in some movement or something? Because we can hear loud noise behind you.
Oh, I think it's the c'est la clim.
Oh, okay.
Je pense que c'est la clim en fait. Vous entendez beaucoup? You hear a lot of noise?
Yes, a lot.
Whoa. Okay, maybe I have to speak louder. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll try like that.
Okay. So I try to share the screen. It's fine? You see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. I start the presentation. Up. Okay. So first, thanks to Laval Virtual to invite me to present this project called Virtual Company. So I will start to introduce me and my company. So I'm the CEO of EvaVeo. We are located in Lyon. 7 people, 3D artist, a real-time programmer. We are in the training market. We make software for the training organization and company. Here a map with our customer. Okay, so I will try to explain the best as I can the project. So the project is called the Virtual Company. So the Virtual Company is a platform of harmonized virtual reality content resulting from a collaborative dynamic initiated by Ocapiat. Ocapiat is a French skill operators. The coordinated development of content is the result of exchange between company, training center, and job experts. The development of different virtual reality contents relies on the technical expert of company and training organization. So the main goals of the virtual enterprise platform. So attractiveness, orientation, training, evaluation, assessment, and cohesion. Here the project challenges and goals. So working collective. So we try to coordinate company and the training organization. We try to harmonize virtual reality content with common technical specification and 3D model shared library. Also capitalize digital resources and optimize investments. And the main goal is to share to the whole community the virtual reality content. So the virtual company at the moment is a virtual reality universe made up of different worlds. You have to know that the main sector of the virtual company at the moment is the industrial food industry. So you will find the production seat, and after we have put other words like agriculture, logistics, factory store, water and waste treatment plants, and quality analysis laboratory. So let me explain the story of the project. In the 2017, we set up AgroVirtuos. It was the pilot project. It was the creation of the industrial reference seat. All start with a small group of industrial company from the region of the Hauts-de-France. If you can launch the YouTube video, you will see the presentation.
Same as earlier, once the video arrives on your screen, please click on play. And sorry, I've closed your microphone, Loic, it was making too much noise. So for us to watch the video, once we receive the video, you will click on play, it will play the video, and then once it's done, feel free to click on close, and Alex will, Loic will tell you when it's over. You can go ahead, like open your microphone and you can keep going. Loic, you have to open your microphone, go back. I can see you sharing your screen still. Yeah, that's it.
Up. Okay, sorry. It's fine. You hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, so after the second big period, it's 2018 and 2020. We implement the guideline and the project specification to all other regions of France. Here you can see a little video of the promotion of the virtual company to add other company and training organization. If you can share the video.
Développer les talents, accompagner les potentiels et les carrières dans le secteur agroalimentaire. Une démarche collective et collaborative pour capter, former et fidéliser les talents. Afin de favoriser l'attractivité et le développement des compétences, votre OPCO innove et crée l'entreprise virtuelle, qui a pour vocation l'intégration de modules en immersive learning issus d'un travail collaboratif. Une plateforme virtuelle d'apprentissage et d'évaluation des compétences. Vous êtes prêts? Alors entrons dans cet univers. Découvrez les environnements professionnels et le quotidien des métiers en immersion dans un monde virtuel. Sécurité, hygiène, conduite de ligne, maintenance, des modules déjà disponibles. L'entreprise virtuelle, une nouvelle façon de découvrir les métiers. Vous êtes intéressé par ce projet? Manifestez votre intérêt. Des collectifs sur les territoires produisent, à l'aide d'experts techniques et pédagogiques, des modules pour faire vivre ce projet unique au service de l'attractivité de nos métiers et du développement des compétences. Un collectif au profit de tous. Nous saurons vous accompagner à chaque étape de réflexion et de production. Nous co-construirons avec vous cahiers des charges et scénarios pédagogiques. Nous formerons vos équipes pédagogiques autour de ce projet innovant. Ensemble, nous développerons un monde virtuel d'apprentissage. L'entreprise virtuelle fait partie d'un système composé de solutions mixtes au profit des entreprises et des organismes de formation. Rejoignez vite cette aventure innovante et collaborative.
Okay, you can go now.
Okay. And here it's a quite huge project because, as you can see on the map, there are a lot of French companies who are involved in the project. All these companies are located in different parts of France. So during about 2 years, we travel in all these companies to explain the project and to make them involved on it. So after we have developed with 2 other VR companies called Artefacto and Mambus about 20 virtual reality project, and inside this 20 virtual project you can find 100 mission. As you can read on the screen, there is the purpose of the mission are nombreuses, and you see that it's all in industrial. So now on October the platform will be okay. You can see 3 links YouTube, and maybe you can share them, but 20 seconds it's to see the virtual reality project.
Unfortunately, we're not going to have the time to do so. So I suggest that maybe we send them in the in the newsletter after the event.
Okay, no problem. So I go how we. I have to be fast. So how we make the construction of all these contents. So Evaveo provide to other designers, so Artefacto and members, SDK called Vorta, to ensure uniformity and tools for reporting user action on the e-learning platform. Because all the virtual reality content are linked to a e-learning platform that we develop, and we can report the action of the user in the virtual reality and mix with traditional e-learning content like quiz or interactive video. Also, Evaveo, as lead project manager, follow the development of the content to guarantee a high quality level of the content because we need a high quality to integrate virtual company. We can talk about digital twin, as you will see on the video. So yes, briefly. So how it works? The virtual company is a hub in 3D, so you can access with a VR helmet or in 2D with a Windows application. You download virtual reality content in function of your role, if you are a learner, teacher, or administrator. And you can download and launch the content, and all the statistics are uploaded on the e-learning platform. So what is coming soon in the roadmap? So we are making a partnership with Belgium to make other content. We try to extend the project to other European countries. We try to develop also other sector of activity because the main sector is food industry. And also we will improve our SDK and the e-learning platform. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Loic. So a nice round of applause, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask Loic inside the chat or meet him afterwards. Thank you so much, Loic, for coming.
Thank you.
We're now going to welcome on stage Judith Guez, which is the founder and director of Recto Verso, the art festival.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, did you stop sharing your screen, Loic? If not, you have to come back on stage, unshare your screen so Judith can actually share hers. Thank you.
It's okay.
Perfect, yeah. Thank you.
And I launch it. Okay. It's okay. You see the screen. Okay. Okay. Thanks, Harriet. So, hello, everybody. So I'm going to talk about some news concerning the art festival Recto Verso from Laval Virtual, and including the evolution of our art and virtual gallery. So to introduce myself quickly, I'm the founder and director of the Recto Verso Festival in Laval Virtual. And I'm also an artist and researcher, and in my background, I have crossed different disciplines and university, from visual art, computer graphics, robotics, and cyber psychology. So for me, the different knowledge and skills complementary, and their links very precious. So I did a thesis at the University Paris 8, and for 5 years, I explored the artistic creation that emerged between the real and the virtual around two notions, the notion of presence and the render, and the artistic creation with VR. So two significant artworks have emerged from this PhD in research creation. The first is called L'Absurde. It was a virtuality lab. in 2015, and also Christopher Rooms, who is still on tour with the play Kant by John Fosse by the company Ex Voto à la Lune. So in my creation and research, I studied the field of virtual reality, which is for me a real artistic medium. I'm interested in the historical aspect of creation in art and virtual reality, and how a particular relationship emerges between the spectator and the artworks. And to question, for example, how do they transport the spectator from the real world to the virtual world? So I'm not only interested in virtual reality with headset, but in the whole continuum between the real and the virtual, includes so augmented reality, virtual, augmented also virtuality and all. It is in part from this vision that was born the Recto Verso Art and Virtual Reality Festival in Laval Virtual, and also the entire artistic pole we have here at Laval Virtual. So for the story, the Recto Verso was created in 2018, and the festival annually gathered 40 to 60 artworks and their creators. It is composed of a main exhibition of about 15 selected artworks following a call for project. And this place is a Art and VR Gallery, the main exhibition. And we have also an artistic itinerary in emblematic places of the city of Laval, allowing for a more open-minded exhibition of the work of artists, researchers, students, collective creators, and curators. So each year I explore the border between the real and the virtual around different current themes. For the first edition in 2018, we explored, for example, the real matter, virtual matter, and all the history of the field and the art history and all. In 2019, the illusion was the illusion, real illusion, virtual illusion. And this year, in 2020, was the body, so real body, virtual body. So with this theme, we are exhibiting artworks complementary to the theme and to question it. So for example, we exhibit together artists pioneer in digital art, such here like Julio Leparc, or also recognized artists in digital art, such as here Catherine Ickham. We also exhibit in the same place artists from several artistic disciplines, such as performance, dance, like here with the artwork, Eve Dance is an Unplaceable Place. And we exhibit also, always in the same place, emerging artist researcher who are exploring virtual reality as an artistic medium. And Recto Verso also interrogates the object of the virtual reality, like the headset itself, questioning even an organic form of representation. And with Recto Verso, we explore also the concept of virtual reality. So we have artworks that question, for example, present, but without headset, so like here, with the illusion of life with this robotic sea anemone. So every year, I do the general curation of the artwork around the theme. And in order to exhibit immersive and interactive virtual artworks in real spaces. And I create all the scenography and the itinerary for the spectator. And so this year we have adapted all the Recto Verso Festival in virtual spaces. So virtual spaces are their own property and allow for different configuration. So we decided to make a multi-platform festival. And we had during the 3 days of the festival, so during Laval Virtual, 7,000 unique visitors on our website. And our Recto Verso website is really the portal to enter in the different parts of the festival. So for example, during the Laval Virtual, we had an art program in the Laval Virtual world. We had Recto Verso building for networking and for some description of the Recto Verso Festival. And in this building, we had art performance inside who interrogate the virtual body. We had also the vernissage of our virtual gallery and 2 days of art conferences. And in another part, by our Recto Verso website, we have access to the virtual gallery of Recto Verso. So this virtual gallery is the 3rd edition, the physical edition on this Art and Ver gallery planned on the same real body, virtual body, is postponed next year during Laval Virtual to another location. But we decide quickly to create the Art and Ver gallery in virtual for this year. And the idea is to have a preview of the artworks and their purpose, and also to be able to virtually move through the scenography originally planned. So as an artist, I create interactive installation and lead creative projects. So we decide to do this virtual gallery. And I led in a few weeks of adaptation and with my small team, the creation in 3D of a virtual version of the original exhibition space. So it was in a magnificent old chapel and scenography. And this year, with the thematic, we had selected 16 international artworks from different countries in Europe and all. And for each artwork, we have interpreted a way of presenting them in a virtual space. For example, we had video and text presented the artwork and we used them. We also had some images that are staged in the virtual space. We also retrieved audio tapes to delineate the space of the artwork for each artworks. And we have taken some liberties in order to make the presentation of the artwork in space come alive as well as possible. For example, by taking images that have been cut out and placed in the 3D spaces. We have also modeled in 3D elements of scenography, such as tables, chairs, headsets, screens, etc. And elements also of the artwork, like here with this interactive display. Or here with the swing on the curved screen, giving an idea of the experience of the artwork in the space. And we have even modeled a part of the presentation of the artwork itself, like for iHuman. So some artists have also given us 3D model of the artworks, which we have integrated, and also really animation and a lot of things with the artworks. So I have integrated all this artwork in the 3D Unity engine, and I also create the interaction to move in the space. And there are 3 ways to visit the gallery through our website, and it's still open if you want to go there to test it. There is a 3-minute video visit on YouTube, and there is also a simplified form of an interactive visit on the web. And I have also made a virtual reality version that can be diffused for artists in some places. So for me, this creation reveals some interesting lines and thought for me, in particular around the question of the exhibition of immersive and interactive artworks in virtual spaces. These artworks being themselves realized by the medium of the virtual. So we can reformulate the questions that how to expose in a virtual space virtual artworks, and how to represent the artwork in the virtual space, and could we experience the real purpose of the artworks? So it is interesting to consider that virtual spaces with its own properties, in terms of space and time. For example, the exhibition has a beginning, but for the moment there is no end, and it can evolve in terms of content and platforms. And on the artistic side, virtual spaces can inspire the creation of artworks only for virtual spaces. Artists can, for example, also imagine variants of their real works, but for virtual spaces. So for me, it's opened different ways of reconsidering the festival and its real and virtual variants, both in terms of the creation of the exhibition space, as well as the new artistic forms that may emerge in these spaces. So to conclude, here are some announcements and news about our next activities with Rectoverso. So we are really happy to launch the second edition of Rectoverso at Vancouver, supported by the Alliance Française and the French Ambassade. Sorry. It's happened during from 2 to 4 October, in October, and it's also during the VIF, the Vancouver International Film Festival. And on this occasion, the virtual gallery will be freely accessible in multi-platform VR on the Chris platform for 1 week from today. So thanks to the wonderful works of the company Chris of Vancouver, they will be able to be in the virtual gallery with several people. So we can be inside the gallery at 12 at the same time in virtual reality. And you will be able also to live there also 7 artwork by taking a virtual reality reality helmet, a virtual helmet. So do not hesitate to visit it. And the access is through the Alliance Française website. And you should see the link, I think, if it's possible to put in, or I will put it after on the chat. And for a second announcement, tonight we are launching the opening of the Rectoverso Art and Ver space, freely accessible in the Laval Virtual World. So you will be able to discover there the description of artwork of the Rectoverso, as well as of our partners. For example, we present in one of the large rooms the catalog of the immersive experience of Culture VR of the French Institute. And the team of the French Institute will be present this evening for all information in this space. So all throughout the year, we will animate many activities around the Rectoverso. So do not hesitate to come and see us for more information or proposal. And after the conference this evening, I invite you to meet us there to continue the discussion and on all these subjects. So thank you all, and see you, hope, in real virtual in our next edition for the Rectoverso. Thank you.
Thank you, Judith. Please a loud round of applause for Judith, and we'll keep the discussion going with the next panel. Still on the topic of art, please welcome on stage Sigrid Coggins, plastic artist, and John Desnoyers Stewart, PhD student and XR artist researcher. The panel will be moderated by Ursula Glesner, virtual reality and new media expert. Please clap, everybody. Welcome.
So, hello, everybody. We'll continue the subject of art and VR with this roundtable. So the subject today is how COVID period impacts the creativity of digital artists, how they adapt and find new ways of creation. So I start with presenting myself. I'm Ursula Glesner, VR and new media expert in VR market since 2013. I'm working with different festivals, organization, producers, and startups on marketing, communication strategy, project and management, and business development. So today I have a huge pleasure to welcome 2 digital artists who are the part of Rectoverso real body, virtual body. So first I present Sigrid Coggins. So Sigrid Coggins. Sigrid is a plastician artist 360. She's using participative processes in her artwork and engaging people. Actually, she's putting the audience in the center of her artwork, and she's exploring the freedom that gave new technologies. For Sigrid, it's kind of love story between art and technology. Today, it's a creative potential of VR and 360 that nourish her work, and she's questioned the place of human being in the center of the installation. Sigrid is exploring utopic spaces, the quest of ourselves through the relation with and our capacity to feel happiness and feel magic of the world, and also explore the limits of frontiers of technology. Some of the artworks of Sigrid is Pyramidoscope, Songerie sur rêve dit, Sig 3D, and Les Rêveries de Pomérien Multimode. So I propose to applause Sigrid. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. It's and our speaker is John Desnoyers Stewart. John is an interdisciplinary artist researcher pursuing his PhD in interactive art and technology at Simon Fraser University in Vancouver. John is a professional engineer with a Master of Fine Art and interdisciplinary studies. John is bringing knowledge from diverse disciplines together to promote creativity and innovation. His current focus is developing multi-user immersive installation to encourage new perspectives on immersive technology and to understand the potential to mediate social norms and limitation. Some of the mixed reality installation of John is transcending perception, body remixer, and gel. So also I encourage you to clap and to welcome John. Thank you. So I start this roundtable with the first more personal question to both of you. How did COVID and lockdown affect you personally? Because we are still in the period. So I want to start with Sigrid.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Ursula. During the confinement, what I felt the most was the necessity to stick to our humanity. It meant a lot of communications by all means available, and also the necessity to be helpful to others, the beloved ones and the strangers. Because I met a lot of people, not only online, but also in real life. And in one hand, I felt a lot of solidarity, but on the other hand, I felt a lot of fears. I also sensed that people felt deeply powerless, and art is crucial to prevent that bad mood. We all need to feel that we can change things. That was the general feeling I had during the confinement.
Okay, thank you very much, Sigrid. So it's true that exchanging between the human was very important. And what do you think, you, John? How the COVID? How did you live the lockdown?
Yeah, so things were quite different in Vancouver. We did manage to avoid a full lockdown, but still had to adapt very quickly to a new normal. Suddenly, the school that I'm at, all the schools and universities shut down, and we had to learn how to teach from over Zoom and things like that with very little warning. Fortunately, we had the foresight to take some of the equipment home so we could still work from home. But I had many trips canceled to different conferences such as Recto Verso in Laval, where I was going to be presenting Body Remixer. So major changes to everything in my life, even though we didn't end up with a lockdown. But there were also many opportunities that came up that would not have happened otherwise, including an international collaboration I'm working on now that emerged from Laval Virtual World this April.
Okay, fantastic, John. You will tell us, I hope, a little bit more after about this collaboration. And for you both are working with art that is really engaging people. And it's really interaction with the public, physical interaction. So could you tell us maybe how did COVID impact your artwork and creative process? Sigrid, I will start from you. Can you share with us?
Ursula, okay. Serial portrait is an artistic proposition to highlight the idea that the way we look at each other or at something or at art has the potential to create something in the world, even if it's tiny, or to change something even slightly, even more crucial in difficult periods. Without the eye of the visitor, an artwork doesn't exist, and vice versa, sorry. Without art, people can't live, or at least less longer, I suppose. Serial portrait is also an exploration of the boundaries which either separate or connect the artist and the visitor. Process about the meeting between two eyes and the concretization of what happened during this encounter. Drawing and filming are involved. And initially, it's a drawing exercise for art students that I have adapted to conceive a situation where two portraits are produced. Next, please. First portrait is the one the visitor makes of me, and it's a hand-drawn portrait with only one rule. During all the drawing, don't look at the sheet of paper. My tool for doing the portrait is a camera, so it's a video portrait. Behind, we have a portrait of the artist as a model and one portrait of the visitor as a creator. Next, please. Nothing. So another one, maybe. Next. Okay, go on.
So for yeah, yes, please.
There's no picture. In 2018, or maybe in 17, sorry, I had the opportunity to work with two collectives invested in 360 fictional videos. And I began to think about what would happen if I were replaced as a model by my clone, using the potential of immersion that VR brings. Questions were then, what about the feelings and the implications of the participants? What about their sensations? What about the relationships with the art proposition? No images? Next. No? Do you hear me? Oh, that's my clone. The project I should have presented and experimented in March with Recto Verso, confinement had not occurred, was the creation of a double installation with both opportunities for the visitors to experiment serial portraits, one with my clone in VR and the same process with me in real life. Because of the lockdown, this couldn't happen, of course, and I thought that what mattered was the process which is based on human encounters. In this sudden new world where everyone was supposed to be a danger for me and vice versa, in a world where we were suddenly imprisoned and with diminished possibilities to see the other in a positive way, I wanted as an artist to create a positive connection. Whatever the tools, whatever the medium, I still wanted to offer the possibility to meet and to create together. So instead of being replaced by my clone, I put myself back to work in a new way. As I wanted to meet the people I could have encountered, I metaphorically opened a window in the prison we were locked in and invited people to book a slot to make the exercise in a Zoom face-to-face, without VR, without headset, sorry, but with the idea that the results of the meetings would be exhibited in VR during the following Recto Verso events. Next picture, please. I first thought that only 10 minutes would be enough for each encounter, because the real drawing time is about, let's say, from 30 seconds to 3 minutes. But I had to change my schedule because of the exceptional situation where we were so isolated. This meeting needed at least 30 minutes because of the pleasure to talk, to share, to discuss about COVID, of course, but also discuss about how art was necessary in our lives. Can you change the picture? Maybe you, hello, thank you. The lockdown was an opportunity to try another serial portrait version and to stick to the idea that the most important was to keep the windows open and to keep art alive, regardless the circumstances. What would have been the whole confinement without art, without music, Zoom, books, and art challenges? Can you change the next? Art is a way to create a world where others are not perceived as a threat, but as individual mysteries to open up to. For the future, I'm planning with Judith Gaze a serial portrait event in the Laval Virtual world during a Recto Verso event, where you will be invited to an opening during which you will meet my clone and where your drawings will be exhibited. And of course, in March, the installation, initially planned for 2020, will take place in Laval 2021. I hope, we all hope, I think, that it will occur. Next, please. Ursula?
Yeah, yes, thank you very much, Sigrid. It's true that it was so important during lockdown for us, for everybody to chat, to have this positive, as you said, this positive meeting, connection with the other. So it's really great that you did this action. And I think that a lot of people were like, by doing the portal, by chatting with you, it has very positive impact. So thank you very much, Ingrid. And John, what about you? Because the same, in your installation, you are really based on installation on mixing physical and virtual contact. Can you tell us more how it was the impact of COVID on your processes of creation?
Yeah, of course. So first I want to introduce what Body Remixer itself was all about. So touch, sense that connects us, and touch, unfortunately, is lost in VR. So we wanted to explore how we could bring physical touch back into virtual reality and use it as an experience to connect people. Next slide, please. So we developed Body Remixer. And here you can see 5 people standing around in the installation space. Their bodies transformed into these ethereal auras using a Kinect. And person in the VR headset sees, in the place of the people around them, these ethereal bodies. Next slide, please. So this shows the progression from left to right. You can see they have an opportunity to embody this sort of virtual abstract body. They recognize these people around them. They might reach out to touch them, and the system recognizes when they make contact with their hands. So if they high five another person, then it connects them together. The particles of each body flows from one to the other. And if they use both hands, then they actually swap the position of their bodies. So the body gets superimposed onto the body of the other, drawing attention towards the similarities and differences between them. Next. Of course, installation centered around touch seems crazy these days. So we certainly, I had to rethink how to approach this until we can, come back together and be together in social spaces. Particularly as my PhD centers around touch and VR. Slide, please. So, yeah, my strategy, given the uncertainty right now, was adaptation through diversification. So rather than taking things in one direction or another, I just sought to find a diverse set of ways that I could better understand, what's missing in VR and what we can do with it. So investigating telepresence through experiences that lack touch, creating telepresent experiences that try to evoke some sense of touch, as well as returning to co-presence and looking at what we can do as we come out of. Please. So I'm working on these 3 different projects that have emerged from Body Remixer, Body Remixer Online, Embodied Telepresent Connection, and Eve 3, Stories of Our Extreme Selves. Next, please. So in Body Remixer Online, this is sort of a somewhat simple rendition where I took Body Remixer and simply made it work online. So anyone can download it and use it from home. For me, this was a way that we could quickly adapt and connect during COVID-19. And it provides an excellent opportunity to understand the strong dichotomy between a telepresent and co-present experience. One thing that it certainly affords is a truly anonymous connection. When you go into this experience, you have no idea who it is that's in there with you. And you have no way of finding out, really. The only way that you can communicate is through the gestures that you can create with your controllers and through your movement. And this will be exhibited at Recto Verso Vancouver, which Judith just talked about. So please come check it out. Next slide, please. Another project I'm working on is Embodied Telepresent Connection. And this is how I envision connecting through the body, both during COVID-19 and beyond, because we'll continue to need to use these telepresent platforms regardless of what the future holds. So this project explores overcoming the limitations of telepresence, connecting remotely through the body by bringing in biosensing, things like heart rate and breathing into the experience and focusing on the movement again. I call it the anti-Zoom. So I'm taking the things that you normally get in Zoom and throwing them out and trying to bring in all of the things that you don't get when you use Zoom, like the sort of rapport that you get with movement and gesture. And finally, I'm working on an exciting collaboration with Margarita Bergamo and a number of other international collaborators who have presented at Recto Verso before. Eve 3 is a new rendition of a work that Margarita worked on before. It's our vision for how we might connect after COVID-19, and it brings together some of her practice with some of what I've done with Body Remixer. It's an experiment, an international collaboration where we, of course, have not had the opportunity to meet in person as a team, but we have been working platforms like Zoom in developing something that's designed to be an attempt at a return to co-present performance. So using a very small group of audience members, about 18 people at a time, to limit the potential for the potential risks and such that come along with co-present days. And so we're hoping to design this in a way that can safely return us to the performance after COVID. And it's a piece that is telling a story through the movement of both the performer and the audience who are wearing VR headsets.
Okay, thank you very much, John. I have a question about the touch, because it's true that we are missing touching actually when you are separated and isolated during COVID. How did you recreate the touch sensation?
Yeah, well, this is something that's an ongoing investigation. So the current development that we've got, the Body Remixer Online, essentially just lacks it, which I think is interesting in itself. There's something to be explored there where, what is it like to not have touch? And so the work in progress of embodied telepresent connection, we're trying to find ways of creating an illusion, because there's ways that you can cross between the senses. You can use visuals to evoke a sense of touch, but it's quite preliminary at this stage.
Okay, so I hope that when you will know a little more, that you will share with us.
Certainly.
So thank you. And government actually today's culture, they are investing in the culture. For example, in France, the government dedicated 7 million euros to creative culture sector. In UK, it was 1.5 million British pounds. I have a question maybe to you, John. Taking into consideration all this investment, do you see the new trends appearing in the art culture sector?
Yes, there's all kinds of different things that we're trying. Every artist and everyone is trying to see what we can do given the restrictions of today. And certainly lots of things are moving towards virtual platforms and exhibitions, but a lot of these are quite limited. I think you'll find that there's people practicing telepresent performance in pretty much any platform that will allow it, like AltSpace and Neos VR. And there's even paid performances happening in these platforms. And at the same time, I think a lot of people are working on thinking of ways to bring us together safely. It's hard to say when we'll be able to get large groups together again. So we really need to rethink what does social performance look like. It's probably not going to be thousands of people seated in an auditorium anymore.
Yeah, so it will be very creative, and I think that lots of creative people will find fantastic solutions, I'm sure about. And next question also, Sigrid, to you. Knowing that art, what was actually the role of art in this difficult period? You told that thanks to your project, lots of people were chatting with you, that the project has positive impact. What do you think about the art is playing any role in this in these times? What's your opinion, Sigrid? I don't know if I don't know. Sigrid? Okay,
Sigrid, so your microphone is cut off.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's happened. Yeah.
Okay, I was saying that I couldn't understand hear all the question, but I think it's about art during the confinement, and what is important for me is to push away the feeling of powerless, and to feel the right and the power to change the world, to co-create the world, and art and is a way for everybody to participate, to create this part of the world. Creation is a co-creation, and what we are talking this evening is all about that, the possibility to create this new world where I hope the human being stay in the center, not only because he has a headset, but in the core of the subject.
We stay human, and I think that real contact is it's so important as well. John, what about you? What do you think about the role of art in this period?
Yeah, I think something really important right now, especially with such significant changes happening in the technology that we use and the social norms, and people starting to work from home and things like this, and the platforms that we're using. There's a lot of assumptions being made, and a lot of things changing very quickly. So I think the role of art is really to engage with those assumptions, those norms, and our technology that we're using in order to question our reliance on these platforms, to figure out whether, does it really make sense for us all to work from home? What's missing there? What works on Zoom, what doesn't, what works on this platform? But even more importantly than questioning what's being done is to imagine the future and guide humanity towards choices which might better serve all of us rather than a few who might profit from these unfortunate times.
Okay, so thank you very much. I want to maybe like one small announcement to culture sector, but today it's perfect times also to open to digital art and to digital artists. So I hope that cultural actors will also consider this. And maybe we can take maybe one or two questions. If you have some question to Sigrid or John. No. So thank you very much. So let's thank you very much, Joe. Thank you, Sigrid.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ursula.
Thank you for this wonderful discussion. It is very interesting. I can't wait to see how John is going to make the haptic and the feedback happen. Okay, so Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them inside of the chat. And you will be all around here, so feel free to discuss in between each other. So we are now going to welcome on stage Benjamin David, Director of VR Days, to learn more about the upcoming event. A large round of applause for him.
Good night, everyone. How are you all doing? I hope very well. Thank you for being here with me. Much appreciated. You look lovely as always. All right. Yeah, what I wanted to talk about tonight about our process of rethinking the event, our event, rethinking VR days. Now, in November 2019, after 5 years building the VR Days Europe event, I finally had the feeling that we nailed it, that this was the event, what it should be like. And then COVID hit, everything had to change. Now, I'm always up for a challenge. So with this, well, how do you start? Well, we first re-evaluated our mission, which is unite the XR community, inspire creative minds, and drive business forward. And we thought that this, after 5 years, was still a valid mission. So everything we would come up with the new event needed to fit this mission. Plus, we had to make sure that the mission is being kept, that we deliver on our mission statement. So this was the starting point. First part, uniting the VR, AR community. And now we cannot invite a couple of thousand people in Amsterdam and bring them all to our event. So we thought, let's try to organize satellite events, small scale meetup-like events all across the world. Friday, the 6th of November, the last day of the event. And at this moment, we are working on Brazil, New York, Munich, Dublin, other places where people can come together in a safe environment and build a network and grow the network and have some real life interaction. And by doing this all on Friday, the 6th of November, we hope that this will create a certain amount of energy where we know that all across the world, our people, our VR and AR community is meeting, knowing that like-minded people meet at the same time, and giving the partners who are doing that a possibility to extend their network. Then we came up with a print magazine, old school print magazine called XR for Everyone, a physical element that would trigger the people in the direct surroundings of the ticket holder who's getting the magazine. So if you get the magazine at home, then your colleagues, your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your roommates are also looking in this magazine, and that by the time the event comes and you open your computer, everybody wants to join and you do not feel so alone. So that was how we wanted to unite the community, inspire creative minds. For that, we came up with the Vision and Impact Hybrid Conference. This will be on Wednesday, the 4th of November in Amsterdam. 200 people we can fit in the Kromhout Hall. It's 3,000 square meters. And with COVID regulations tightening up, it's at this moment still possible to deliver on that. We will also stream this conference. And then the next 2 days, we will have a studio in Amsterdam. It will be like a talk show with speakers, presenters, commentators, recorded talks. So full day, it will be a TV marathon, 2 full days, 9 hours of content. It will be a lot of fun. A lot will go wrong, so that will be amazing. We will have the XR talks, which we will publish online to educate the creative and the inquisitive minds. And then we have the Church of VR in VR and the Philosopher's Salon in VR in a virtual reality yurt. What do you think? And then the last part of the mission statement, driving business forward. So the immersive funding market, IFM, we had a startup market for years, we had a content market for years. This year, we're adding a market for researchers, connecting researchers with institutional money, because by bringing together the talent and the people that can facilitate the talent, we really think we can help this industry grow. So this year, first year, we're doing the research market. So please join us. Please help us. We're figuring out this, but we already have, I think, over 10 researchers pitching projects, and I think it's a great achievement for a first year. And last but not least, in the Laval Virtual world, we will have a trade show where you can meet companies, extend your network, do business, have meetings in business suites, have meetings all over the terrain, use the networking app we have, and this way we drive business forward. Then, now, when the event is finally there, oh, by the way, on my left hand or right hand, I don't know, we see the map, the VR Days 2020 event map, where you see that we have many different locations. We have the VR location, where you have the Church of VR and the Philosopher's Salon. We have Vimeo, where we do all the conferences. We have the Laval Virtual World, where we do the trade show, roundtables, Zoom, the immersive funding market. Take a look. And so for each different part of the event, we chose one platform to make it as simple as possible when it's already difficult enough. So I'm sure some parts of this event will be strange. I'm sure some parts of the event will be uncomfortable. I'm sure we will have technical difficulties, or some things will be just totally off. But I think what we're doing this year is laying the foundations of the event of the future. Because of one thing I'm really sure, 2021 will not be like 2019. Somewhere in our minds in 2019, we already knew that growth would be unsustainable and not good for the future of our world, or the world of our children. You know, we were 2,000 people last year, from 60 countries. It's not that I don't want to grow, but do we want, and I still don't have the question, but do you want to have 70,000 people traveling to VR Days in 10 years? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe decentralizing stuff is better. This break we are experiencing right now is scary. And we knew that keeping the pace we had was destructive. So what do? And now, all of a sudden, someone pulled the emergency brake, and somewhere maybe this was something we wanted. But I hope we can embrace the opportunities that this pandemic brings. To use the qualities of the medium we have been promoting for years. I'm not saying that everything should be digital and digital and virtual is the only solution. And I think we've known it for some years that there's more needed to create immersion. The whole on and off boarding of VR experiences have shown us that. But I think it's our challenge and our duty to investigate. And for the future of our industry and our planet, and for the VR Days event, I hope that the concept, the event we have come up with, is a concept that truly unites people, that inspires people, and that brings value to businesses. And where we don't deliver, please tell us that, because that's the only way we can become better. But it's our VR Days 2020 mission to become the most immersive event of 2020. And I want to ask you all to join us to make this happen. How can you join us? You can organize a satellite event. It can be anywhere. You can also organize a virtual satellite event if you have a platform. You can send in an XR talk. You can join the conferences. You can join the trade show, buy a ticket and join the trade show, or be there as an exhibitor or visitor. You can have a job as a volunteer, or just stay happy, stay healthy, and get a free Church of VR pass. If you want to do one of these things, my email is here below. Oops. PRdays.co. Oops. Yeah, folks, this was it. This is what we're working on. This is what keeps us busy during the day, and sometimes also at night. I'm happy to answer any questions with the B1, and so Harriet, what do you want me to do? Should I just get the hell off the stage?
Yeah, please leave my stage.
Thank you, Harriet.
Thank you so much, Benjamin. A round of applause for him. And yes, please, all of you, feel free to come to the VR Days and check what we have been working on for months with the team. Thank you all. We are now going to welcome on stage for the closure of this event, Laurent Chrétien, Director of Laval Virtual. Thank you, and large applause for him.
Well, thank you, Ariette. Thank you, Benjamin. Thank you, all of you, for your participation and the wealth of your contributions. We are really living in a complex and I would say fascinating period. Fascinating time of difficulties, but also of opportunities, changes, impossibilities, but new things as well. It is up to all of us to positively transform everything that happens to us. So before to get together for a chat, let me give you some information to finish. So our next meeting, our next Laval Virtual Days is on October 22. So it will come soon in some 3 weeks on agri-food and food, other subject, but very interesting subject. So stay tuned. Benjamin told you all about the VR Days in Amsterdam, where we hope to see you in numbers. It will be from November 4 to 6. And I remind you that all VR AR ecosystems can organize their events here in the Laval Virtual World whenever you want. So now I will invite you now to go and discover the Recto Verso area that Judith told us about, as well as the space dedicated to some of the Laval Virtual's 2020 awards winner. You can go there simply via the go-to menu, and we can network all together there. So thank you again for your presence this evening, and see you soon, very, very soon. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. Please feel free to hang out around in the world and for nice conversation. And don't forget to check the booths. So you have to go on the go-to menu, click on LV Days XR Trend, and go to Award Winner. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayet.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you to the team.
Merci
Thank
beaucoup.
you all. Thank you.